I am your host, Ken Joslin, where we love to help business leaders build confidence, gain clarity, and create community. And I have got a treat for you. Miss Jill Sinclair, we are long-standing friends, about 24 hours. I met Jill. We've been following each other on social media for a while. She's friends with some of my really good friends like Dave Meltzer, Craig Siegel, my guy, Tony Watley. And so when we got to connect yesterday, I'm like, we were talking about getting her on podcast. I said, well, what about tomorrow? We've got a cancellation. I got a spot open. Jill's a motivational speaker, keynote speaker, coach, author, podcaster. Jill, how you doing, girl?
I'm doing amazing because I get to speak with you, my friend. Woo! Bring it.
Hey, take just a couple minutes and tell our audience about a little about who you are and what you've got going on and up in Canada, eh?
Yeah, up in Canada. Yes, I'm Jill Sinclair and I change lives. And someone told me a little while ago, Jill, that sounds kind of cheesy. I'm like, well, because you don't understand what I do. I literally change lives. I'm an executive coach, author, keynote speaker, as well as a brand new TV personality on a show that is also going to be featuring Ed Milet, David Meltzer. Oh, I just got a recording notice there. At David Meltzer, Jim Quick, amazing people in this space, and Jill Sinclair from Vancouver, Canada. So I'm truly here to change lives, to tell people that there is a possibility for more in their lives, and give them the tactical traits and things that they need to do, because you can't just dream it, you have to do it and you have to be it. So that's what I'm all about. And I'm super excited to start getting on some stages with you, my friend.
Come on, girl. Talk to me about, a lot of people are coaches. I literally just did a podcast this morning, my Coaching with Ken episode. We drop on every Monday. Wednesdays, we drop a guest podcast. My good friend Nate May worked for John Maxwell forever. Nate and I are best friends. We've been friends for 20 years. Nate always says this. He goes, man, there's so many with social media, the internet, everybody's a guru, everybody's an influencer, everybody's a this. And Nate goes, the issue with what's going on in our culture today is there are a lot of people talking, but very few people have something to say. When you talk about life change, my ears perk up. I'm like, ooh, That's what I love. I am in the business of transformation. Yeah. I'm not in the business of giving you 2 or 3 here, do this. And here's a trick. And here's my affirmations. And here's our GSD planner. And if you do this in 90 days, your life's going to change. When you say life transformation or life change, that kind of gets me going, ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
Talk to me about your life and what were some of the things in your life that happened and transpired where your life changed that got you to go, okay, now I need to take this and I need to help other people experience what I experienced?
I love that question. There's so many layers deep, and I just have truth bumps right now because of the deepness of our conversation. I grew up in a really shitty household full of abuse and abandonment. And so from the very beginning, I knew it was up to me. If it's to be, it's up to me. Mm-hmm. And although I didn't take that as an emboldening statement as a young child, because I was running from abuse, I was sitting in abandonment. And so for me, it was always about, how do I get forward in life? Because I've got no support, right? So of course that went on into my early adulthood and into abusive relationships. And one of my superpowers is resilience. Being resilient, because if I wasn't resilient, Ken, I would have picked a bridge a long time ago. And I was suicidal in my early 20s because I just didn't know any other way to go. I still had no support because I didn't know how to access that. And so for me, I am one of those street fighters that will just keep on fighting and getting their goals. So in getting my goals, in being that very persistent, tenacious individual, I teach others, how do they become resilient? How do they become tenacious? How do they actually literally get their goals? Because to me, people's possibilities are right there. They're right beneath the surface, but they don't have someone to call on it and call it out into be an actual possibility. And so for me, I get so excited to be able to give people the dreams and the goals that they actually say that they want. And I hold them very accountable, clearly and highly accountable to what they say they want to do. Because if they're not going to do the actions, Ken, I don't want to be a part of that. I don't want you to pay me money because I want to see your results. I don't want to see your excuses. So I'm not going to be tying my name to someone who's actually not going to do the work. I've actually fired clients before because they weren't willing to do the work. I'm like, you know what? But Joe, how can you fire me? I just did. Right. Yeah. So for me, and it's interesting. I mentor a lot of young people that come from very abusive households themselves, some of them from gangs, and they happen to be all young men between the ages of 17 to 27. And I say from the very beginning, I'm going to hold you accountable. And do you know why that is? And you're like, no, we don't. And I say, I'm going to hold you accountable because I care. Because I care. If I didn't care, we just meet, once a week for this coffee and we'd have fun and we have giggles, but I'm going to hold you accountable to what you say you want to do. And I'll tell you what, I have literally changed these young men's lives because I care. That's all they needed was one person to stand beside them to say, you can and you will, because I've got the keys that can help you with this. And you can hear me, I just get so impassioned with this, and I just, to be able to understand my gift has been to be put on this earth to help change lives because I've been through the shit. I understand the shit. I don't know exactly what someone else has gone through, and I'll never know how to experience that, but I've been through it enough to know I can stand beside you and know how crappy that feels.
Yeah.
And I know it takes.
Adversity is just adversity. I mean, it takes all shapes and forms and sizes. I love what you said just a while ago. You said, I'm walking through life looking for a bridge. Like, what was the moment for you, Jill, where you were like, okay, I like, because everybody gets those moments in their life where they're like, I don't have anybody in my corner. I don't have anybody in my circle. Don't have anybody in my community. My relationships are very few. The ones I have, they're not looking out for my best interest. Yeah. What was the moment? Was there a moment in you where you were like, went from like you said, looking for a bridge to, man, you know what? There's more purpose in me. There's more in me than what I'm experiencing and living out right now.
There was not just one moment. It's interesting. From the very beginning, even when I was going through the horrible times as a child, I was still giving back. I was still volunteering because I knew I needed to do something bigger than myself just to keep me connected to humanity. And when I look back at that now, I go, oh my gosh, now I see that. I didn't see it at the time. And so for me, always giving back was my connection to being worthy, Ken, to being worthy and having that bridge and having the bridge to humanity and saying, for me to be able to help others, it proves my value. And it's kind of that interesting thing. Yeah. If you really look deep into who I am, I'm still, parts of me are that scared little girl that's hiding in the corner because she doesn't want to be beaten, and parts of me are still proving myself. I'll be doing this until I'm pushing daisies, right? And so for me, it's about consistently growing and consistently giving back, because that's where the real magic in life lies, is right there.
I love that. I absolutely love that. It's, when you walk through difficult seasons and difficult times in your life, I tell people all the time, people are like, well, why does God let me do this? Why does God not love me? Why am I walking through this? And I always tell them, because listen, there's more fulfillment in living a life where you and I came from. And I was sharing a little bit of my background earlier with you. Yeah. There's more fulfillment in life when you walk through trials and you walk through difficult situations. You figure out how to overcome, you build relationship with people who help you overcome. Yeah. And then when you get on the other side, you're able to look back, like you said, like you were a little fired up when we got on the call, but when you started talking about all of the guys you helped, like your whole countenance changed. You were like, you got the passion level raised, the meter went through the roof. When you look at it from that perspective and you know that, okay, I went through this there's a purpose behind my pain. Yeah. And now literally every single day, I've got 5 affirmations. One of them right here is, I am whole. I choose to use past pain to help others find healing. Like, I know this is what I am called to do. And so when I feel like, when I get in my pain or I get in a wound or I get triggered, that's my affirmation I go to. How do you keep yourself focused on helping people?
It is something that is almost like you need to eat every day to survive. You need to have water every day to survive. And I truly believe I need to give back every day to survive. It's something that when I'm able to get out of bed and literally be lit up by helping others, like yesterday when we first met online, very briefly, and then I had another couple of Zoom calls, and then I had a client meeting, and then I got to meet with some of my mentees yesterday. Tell you what, I was most excited about going to meet my mentees and having a catch up with them, right? And so for me, I just know that it just really gives me energy. It's my spiritual food. right? It truly is. And knowing that I have got such a big responsibility to continue to serve and to give back. Like literally, it's my responsibility. And that's a blessing. That's an absolute blessing. And it's a huge weight sometimes that you're like, wow, this is a big responsibility, right?
No, I get it. It's funny. We walk through at the bottom of our planner. I literally, for those of you guys that don't have one, I've got a scoreboard on the bottom of the planner. So I rate myself every day on a scale of 1 to 10. How did I live today?
That's accountability at its highest.
You better believe it is. And I've given myself 110 over the past. I created these last June, so 10 months. I've given myself 110, and it was the last day of our Create conference in January because it was so impactful. Yeah. So many unbelievable relationships. I mean, unbelievable time with John Maxwell and Randy Garn and a lot of the people that I'm just super close with now. Yeah. And I gave myself a 10 that day, but I'll never forget the morning after Create, being in the shower, literally overwhelmed with what God did that weekend and the few hundred people that were there.
Yeah.
And the weight that sat on my shoulders of, oh, okay, now we really are out of the closet. Now the expectation from the world is, okay, what are you going to do next? Yeah. How are you going to handle it this time? And so how do you balance that the expectation of other people with, or not letting the expectation of other people dampen out like your just raw passion and desire to help people?
It's having boundaries. And I haven't always had boundaries. It's having boundaries for people that are just soul suckers and they know who they are. You know what I'm saying? But my whole thing is saying, no, not on my watch, you know? And it's interesting. Some people, like, I did this contest in the middle of COVID, just in middle of 2020. And because my speaking tour was supposed to take off across North America and it was going to be amazing. And Josh Altman from $1 Million Listing LA, I'm like, woohoo! And then COVID hit, and then all of our lives changed exponentially. And so I thought in the middle of this, when I was feeling like, oh my gosh, now what am I going to do? I put on this contest called Head Start with Jill, where I gave away $100,000 worth of prizes, right? So rent for a year, condo, a car, business coaching, fitness trainer, all of that. And the reason I did that is because I realized if I'm feeling despondent, if I'm feeling like, what am I doing? Then these young people are feeling the same way. And so for me to put, my time and my efforts where my mindset is at, I know I'm doing it because I can, and no one else is going to do it for them. So I still believe, Ken, it's my responsibility. And I take that very seriously. And I also look at the parameters and the boundaries of how I let people into that. Right. So someone had said to me, actually a very dear friend that I've known for a very long time, said, oh, who's going to really sponsor this in the middle of a pandemic? And I said, I said, I don't want to hear that. You're a friend. I love you. I don't want to hear that. How about you say, oh my God, I can't imagine when Jill has, $100,000 worth of prizes and these people are coming and sponsoring it. I said, I want you to think about that. I want you to think about the possibility. But guess what, Ken? I'm the one who had to say no to that negativity. I'm the one who had to stand in love and say, I will not accept that, oh, but I love you. That's why I'm sharing that, Jill. I just don't want you to be hurt. I'm like, no. I'm telling you what I need, and what I need is your encouragement. What I need is you to say, oh my gosh, I cannot wait, Jill Sinclair, till you have a successful contest, and then it becomes a TV show, and then you're helping millions and millions of people. I want you to say that to me, right? So it's our boundaries, Ken, that allow people to seep in with their poison and their negativity. And we have to daily sometimes stand up to people we love and say, you know what, that's not helpful.
I love that. I talked this morning. My podcast this morning was literally on.
Oh, something happened.
I'm getting a. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you now. Yeah.
Sorry about that. I had a FaceTime call come in right in the middle of my podcast on my MacBook. I know, right? I did not set my airplane mode. I literally did a podcast this morning, and the title of the podcast that I did this morning was Counsel versus Advice. And Greg Reed and Sharon Lecter, who are two really, really dear friends of mine and mentors, and been to both their homes and spent a lot of time with these two guys. They did a book together called 3 Feet from Gold. And in the book, They talk, phenomenal book. In the book, they talk about the difference between counsel and advice. Advice is what you get from family members when you want to go do something. And they're like, well, how do you expect to get people to sponsor you during COVID? How do you expect to do this? You don't really know anything about authoring a book. And I love how Greg always says, he goes, but if I want counsel, I'm going to call Jack Canfield, author of Chicken Soup for the Soul, and go, hey, I want to write a book. What do you think about that? Oh, great, Greg, you'd be fantastic. Let me tell you step 1, 2, and 3. Let me connect you with this person that can help you get this done. That's the difference between counsel and advice. And you are so right when it comes to boundaries. I don't know if you know who Dr. Henry Cloud is, but he's got a book called Boundaries. He's got another book called Necessary Endings. Absolutely phenomenal when it comes to drawing lines between you and people that you have relationship with. And I always said this, I teach, how do I get the right people in my circle? Those 10 or 12 people I spend the most time with, how do I get the right people in? And how do I get the wrong people out the right way? Like, how do I get them out the right way? And I love what you said just a minute ago. Hey, I love you. This is where I'm going. And this is what I've got going on. If you want to take the journey with me, I'd love for you to be a part of it. But if not, I'm just not going to have that much time for you, even though I care for you. And I wish the best for you. Talk about some of the things. I know you're coaching and teaching and talking about sales and talking about some of those things. What are some of the things that really fire you up to be able to teach and share with your audiences now?
What really fires me up is helping young people. I just taught 3 different cohorts, 10 weeks long, for young entrepreneurs. And I'll tell you what, you know how we have some of these people over the age of 30 and they have all these excuses of why a new business can't work. They don't have the time. They don't have these things. In less than 10 weeks time, I've had these young people begin their business, start making money. So anyone else who says they don't have the time or it's just too difficult, I call BS on that, right? So to work with young people, they're so open and they have such a sponge to say, hey, oh my God, what do you think about this? Or I don't know anything about this. And they're so open to their possibilities. And so I get to pour into them on a daily basis and help them to create their own business. And we're not talking, knitting businesses, although that can be very viable.
Lemonade stand at the end of the driveway. We're talking about legit businesses, right?
Making plastic out of seaweed. That's one of them. Another guy is, he has a brand new invention that he's going to be selling into grocery stores. Another one is a card company. And I mean, it goes on and on and on. And these young people, like I said, they listen and they get into action because guess what I do? It goes back to holding them accountable, saying, hey, we've got some accountabilities today. We've got some accountabilities and we're going to have an agreement on that. If I say, hey, John, can you get this done by 12 o'clock on Friday? Oh, and I see your face and just contorting. And I'm like, okay, looks like it might not work for you. What's going to be a better time that you can actually complete it? And then, we negotiate on that. And I'm like, okay, you're the one who's chosen that time. So I look forward to getting it in my inbox at that time. And guess what? Pretty much, I'd say 99% of the time when we have that conversation, it comes into my inbox and it is completed in that time period because we've negotiated on that. And that's super, super important. The other things I'm fired up about is that show coming out called Coach with Ed Milet, David Meltzer, and Jim Quick, as well as I'm in the works with a new TV show called Head Start that was based on the contest that I ran. So again, it's about, Ken, it's creating your own life, showing up for my life to show you what's possible, and then creating that with our young people, because guess what? Our young people are the next generation, and they're going to be given what we've left behind. So what do you want to leave behind?
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, I think that's huge. And you have a passion not only to work with business leaders and entrepreneurs, but also that up and coming generation. Yeah. I youth pastored for a long time, several hundred kids in my youth ministry. I spoke to thousands of kids, hundreds of thousands of kids across the country for several years. Wow. And the one thing that a mentor told me one time, they said, listen, teenagers are really easy. If you love them and you're authentic, dude, they are drawn to you. Yeah. If you will just do that for them. Yeah. So what are some of the things with you in mentoring and teaching and training students that has really worked out for you?
You hit the nail on the head right there. They're like, holy shit, Jill, you are so genuine. So they hear me speaking with them, and then they hear me speaking with the CEO, and I speak exactly the same. I bring the same energies to them, and I have the no apology, as in, I'm here to change your life if you let me, if you let me step beside you and help you with that. And so they see that there's no errors there. There's no, oh, Jill's this here and she's this here. I care about them as much as I care about anyone else that is in my circle, And so for me, the authenticity is what it really it touches their hearts, because they know I care, and they know that I haven't come from a loving and caring background. Yeah. So it's my choice to spend time with them. Like when they say, oh, Jill, can we meet this week? I'm like, oh, are you kidding me? Of course we can. You know what I mean? And so for them, these young guys, like between the ages of 17 and 27, they want to spend time with me. Like holy smokes, like what a gift that is, right? So again, in helping them with their career transitions or their entrepreneurship and connecting them with people, I'm much like you, Ken. I love to connect people with other good people, right? Because they don't have the relationship yet. So if I can form that and help them with that, then I sure am. I mean, after my contest, my Head Start with Jill contest, I held because COVID kept on prolonging it, right? So I held the celebration on a yacht that was gifted to me for the day, right? So guess who I invited on there? All of my mentees. So I think it was 23 of my mentees there. Wow. And tell you what, all of them were better dressed than the adults were. I mean, they were like young adults, but some of them, they borrowed 3-piece suits from their friends, and they showed up and they took it seriously. And they're like, oh my God, we've never been on a yacht before. And they were of the age, the ones that were on the yacht, like 19 plus in Canada, you can have a drink, right? So, and they saw that I cared enough about them. I wasn't just giving them lip service. Right. I literally said, you know what? It's really important for me, for you actually, to be able to see what happens outside of our little circle, and be brought into that. And I mean, that just brings me so much joy to be able to give them experiences that they've never experienced. Right.
I love that. I absolutely love that. Tell us, give us a story. Tell us about a client that you've worked with and that has been like, if you look back and you go, man, this individual, this guy, this girl, man, it is, because I tell people all the time, listen, when you go to bed at night, you don't lay your head on the pillow and go, that's how you live a day because of where your bank account's at. You do that because of the impact you've made in people's lives. And there's a difference between being a person who is a significant leader or somebody who chases success, because significant leaders build other people around them. And that's exactly what you're doing. So I'd love for you to tell our audience, tell us, man, brag on what's going on right now.
Oh my God. There's so many stories. There's so many good stories. I'm going to give you 2 quick ones. So one is business related. And it was a younger guy, I believe he's 27 years old, working full-time, 40 hours a week, also an Uber driver. And he just became a brand new realtor. So he heard me on a podcast and he phoned me, said, hey, Jill, I really love what you're doing. I'm a brand new realtor. I've been in real estate 1 week and I'm wondering if you're accepting new clients. And I said, I'm only accepting an extraordinary individual. Are you that person? Right. And so I'm very cautious how I word myself. If that kind of wording is going to turn someone off, then we're not a match. Right. So we started having a conversation and I said, well, what is your biggest goal of real estate? And he said, well, I want to be able to take this full time to replace my income, my full-time job, with real estate within 5 years. And I said, why so long? And I'm like, I guarantee I will get you there in less than a year. And he's like, oh my God, really? Boom, done. He sent me the deposit. We started working together right away. Within 7 weeks, he had made over $150,000. Come on, girl. 7 weeks. Because guess what? He was a sponge. He listened and he got into action with what I told him to do, because I started as a realtor and I was very successful as a realtor. I realized what I love more is teaching people how to be great at what they do, right? So this was actually just in the past November. And I said, okay, so we need to talk about now you resigning from your position with your job. And he says, well, I'm going to wait till the new year. I'm like, well, why would you wait till the new year? Again, challenging him and showing him the different possibilities, right? Because everyone, first of all, said it's going to take him this long to get to this success, with 3-5 years. And I said, no, I'll get you there in less than a year. Well, 7 weeks later, he was making far more than he was making at his full-time job. Wow. So he put his resignation letter in. And guess what his why was? His why was he wanted to retire his father. So his why was so compelling and so strong. I just got truth bumps. And that's why I knew when I first, had the deep dive with him, what was his goal and what was his why. And so when he told me that, I said, I will get this guy to where he needs to be. And so he's making well over, it's been now, I guess, 4 or 5 months now. And he's well close to $1 million in less than a year's time. Right. That's awesome. And because he's listened and he's implemented. And then another young mentee of mine, he had immigrated here from China when he was 10 years old. I got to start working with him when he was 18. He was living in a basement suite with his parents, sharing a bedroom with his dad because they didn't have enough room. Right? You can imagine that he was bullied at school. All these things were happening. He was addicted to video games. He meets me. He reaches out because I spoke at the youth group he was a part of. He reached out to me, asked me if I would be his mentor. And I said, I certainly will. And I started working with him very closely and had the conversation. And I'll tell you what, I said, his name is Jaden. He doesn't mind me sharing the story. Jaden, I said, I will always be honest with you as your mentor. I said, but in my honesty, how blunt and how straight to the point can I be between 1 and 10, right? There's a difference. And that doesn't mean I was going to be mean to him. I'm going to be straight to the point. Yeah. And he said, Jill, you can be a 10. I said, okay, here we go then.
You're like, are you sure I can be a 10?
Yeah, I know, honey, you cannot handle much wealth, right? So for me, it was interesting because he just really gleaned on. And again, what it was I said, I'm going to hold you accountable because I care. He listened to that and he said to me, Jill, no one's ever said that to me. And I've never felt that from another adult in my life. So within 6 months' time, he had just graduated from school. He got a job as an apprentice electrician, and he moved out of the house with his girlfriend. Wow. And now he's still, it's been almost 2 years now, and he's living on his own or with his girlfriend. And now he's got his job. He's starting something on the side. And this is with someone that he said, Jill, you've changed my life 360 degrees, right?
That's amazing.
Because I care, and literally that's the basis of all the work that we do, Ken.
Yeah. I was on the phone with Gary Brecka yesterday for about 35 minutes. Gary's a dear friend, sold half of his Streamline Medical to Grant Cardone. They're opening the 10X Health Systems.
Wow.
They did 400 applications for franchises across the country. Their goal is to do 1,000. They raised $40 million in one day after his deal. Wow. And he told me, Ken, for the majority of my life, I was worried about the stuff. They just bought two really nice houses, one in, two in South Florida on the opposite sides, Naples and Miami. And he said, I'm laying in the bed with Sage, my fiance, and they're both super dear friends of mine. He's like, is this even real?
Wow.
What we're doing and what we're experiencing now. And this is what he told me. He goes, Ken, the day I switched from wanting to become wealthy and worrying about what I was going to buy or what possessions I wanted to how can I genuinely help people with their health journey and their health transformation? He goes, wow. From that moment forward, he's got so many clients, so I can't handle the clients. I'm taking on partners like Grant, where, $40 million in one day.
Wow.
Because he cares about people. And I'm telling you, we've talked about it a ton. When you're an authentic person, authenticity is the highest frequency that we emit as human beings. Mm-hmm. And it's also the most sought after. So it sounds like what you're telling me is you authentically care for and love some of these people that you're able to impact and mentor. I see it all over your face, man. Like you're fired up. Jill, tell our audience, where's the best place for them to connect with you and find you?
Go connect with me on Instagram, Ms. Jill Sinclair, MS Jill Sinclair. Also go to my website, jillsinclair.com, and you're going to find some things on there. And I'm here to serve. So, when you connect with me online, let me know, what do you need? How can I help you? DM me or just straight up give me a comment. And I'd love to be a part of your world and helping you to look and uncover your possibilities, because that's what life is, right?
I love it. I got Dr. Rob Kelly. He's the #1 addiction doctor in the world. 97% success rate for alcoholics. Wow. He's treated guys like Post Malone, Robert Downey Jr. He owns one of the largest rehab places. They got 4 offices around the world, and he sees all the A-listers. And we were on a call, and you said it just a minute ago. We were on a call with him, Gary Breck, I just talked about just a minute ago, and my buddy, Dr. T, Alex Trevetti in Chicago. He's an NLP doctor, one of the top NLP guys in the country. And we're on a call getting ready for this Move the Needle event in July. And I said, we're getting ready for the call, and I asked Dr. Rob, I said, what can I do for you? And he goes, what do you mean? What can you do for me? I said, well, what can I do for you? How can I help you? And he goes, Ken, nobody asked me, what can I do for you? I'm always the one asking everybody else. He's coming to our mastermind in Atlanta next month. I literally just talked to him yesterday. He goes, dude, I'm joining your mastermind. Like, I want to be around people who want to know, and I say this all the time, people who want something for me, not from me.
Yeah.
And that's it. And that's what I love about your heart and love about your DNA.
Yeah.
Jill Sinclair, ladies
Thank
and gentlemen, Miss Jill Sinclair on Instagram, JillSinclair.com. Hit her up. And I love what she said. Let me know what you need. Let me know how I can serve you. Let me know how I can help you. Jill, man, I obviously, I mean, it's like we're long lost brother and sister here. And literally just talked for the first time on the phone yesterday. So listen, honored number one, that you took some time out today for our audience, and super excited about this podcast. I'm getting up and the value and the impact it's going to make. And thank you for all of the people that you're serving, your community, the people around the country, Canada, US, the people around the world, that you're making a difference in their lives.
Thank you.
I want to say thank you for them.
Thank you. Thank you. It's been such a blessing to be on this, and I cannot wait to meet you in person and squeeze you.
I can't either, girl. Well, listen, guys, thank you so much for joining us on our As the Leaders Grow podcast. This has been my very special guest, Jill Sinclair. Do us a favor, guys. Subscribe, download, like, 5-star review it, call your mother-in-law, sister-in-law, sell your sister, whatever you got to do. Share this podcast if it's adding value to you. We'd love for you to share that. Post it on social media. If you do a 5-star review for our Create conference next year in Atlanta, Ed Milet, John Maxwell, Randy Gard, Amberly Lago. We've got an unbelievable lineup. Anthony Trucks, Carlos Reyes. All my guys are going to be there. If you leave a 5-star review, we're going to give away a free $5,000 VIP seat to everyone who does a 5-star review. We're going to put you in a drawing. We're going to give away one ticket about 2 months before the conference. So we'd love for you to do that. And we will see you next time here on As the Leader Grows.
Nice.